Good evening, good sir. How are you?
Blake, Louisiana Sports Hall of Famer Nick Saban.
Louisiana Sports Hall of Famer Glenn Guilbeau.
Yeah, so I didn't touch on that in my show. I was going to bring it up to you. I love how he, because a lot of people hate you, but like I like that he is genuinely a heel for everyone, and he gets honored.
Yes.
I love it, man. Who's the biggest heel in wrestling history?
Oh,
I can't answer that.
in history?
Yeah, in history.
I mean, Cena from a popularity standpoint he fully went heel. I mean, that was a new big one. The Rock in moments and times, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, it would need like a hardcore wrestling expert, like a guy that was just heel the entire
Yeah,
way.
let's text Josh Payton and ask him what was the biggest heel in WWE history.
I also have a question. Tomorrow, your guy Joe DeLeon is joining my show for the first time.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm excited. Does he know ball?
Joe
Am I
does
saying
good
his
job.
last name correctly? I know I should.
Joe DeLeon, yes, that is his name.
Okay.
He's really good at this draft analysis stuff.
Yeah, that's why I'm having
Now,
him on.
people on here will say, "Well, remember when he said he'd eat a hat if Jaden Daniels won a Heisman?" That's not really. I mean, that's not completely fair. He was trying to get under my skin. Whatever. He paid his penance for it. But yeah, he really likes it. Okay, what are y'all talking about? Will Campbell's arm size?
That and I'm feeling Shedeur to the Saints. I'm just feeling it now. And but I dude, for some reason,
it would be such a dumb move.
So you're out on Shedeur as
1,000%.
And dude, it just kind of feels like it. So Dion tells Field Yates on national TV, I like these colors. And he was pointing to his Colorado uniform. Okay. Or his Colorado shirt. Then Alvin Kamara randomly with Dion. Just out of nowhere. I have a sick feeling it's going to happen.
I can't get on the Dion people haters. I like they get on me on Ruffino and Joe show when I call.
I will say they are most.
He's not a top 10 pick worthy player.
He's not.
No,
I'm sorry. I would be furious. I would be very.
You should be furious. I got to be real with you. I mean, he's done some really good stuff. I just don't think. I think if his last name wasn't Sanders, same could be said for even Eli. Okay, but Eli won two Super Bowls. I listen. For what it's worth, I do not believe. I think he's a second round pick. I don't think he deserves to go that high of a grade. Yeah. I really and look, people will hate me for saying that. I'm not there with him. This does feel like to me, though, if I'm being honest, the Saints don't be doing stuff like that. I would be shocked if they did it like that.
They've never taken a quarterback in the first round ever.
And it's gonna be Shedeur Sanders?
Exactly. In fact, I if I remember this correctly, I'd have to go find this research. It was just in some analytical thing. The Saints are the only team since 1980 to not draft any position in any round. Like every position has been drafted by every team in every round in the NFL
since 1980,
except the Saints drafting a quarterback in the first round. And so think about all those different combinations. So that is the last one that's not happened since 1980. So
we're waiting for Arch Manning. What are you talking about?
What?
We're waiting for Arch Manning.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hey, here's the thing about Arch. I think he's going to start 2 years of college ball. I don't think he's coming out next year.
I could see that.
Now, what I want LSU fans to be ready for, Blake, very reputable mock drafter. So I'm not talking about Joe Schmo who just, gives his opinion. We're talking about Field Yates did this in his mock draft. I think Daniel Jeremiah did this in a mock draft. The Saints passing over Will Campbell on the board at 9 and selecting Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M. That was in one of those mock drafts. And then in another mock draft,
Go ahead.
I'm not on I'm with you on Shamar. Also selecting Jihad Campbell of Alabama over Will Campbell at pick number 9, or potentially taking Shedeur Sanders. Will Campbell's been so heavily mocked to the New England Patriots that, everyone just thinks it's a foregone conclusion the Patriots are going to select him. I think they could pick Mimbu out of Missouri. So I'm going to talk to Joe about who does he like better out of those two. And then Will Campbell being there at 9. Blake, you know how LSU fans are about this LSU Saints relationship. Could you imagine if Will Campbell at pick number 9, at the most premium position in the NFL draft outside of the quarterback, which is offensive tackle, and I know the Saints took an offensive tackle last year in the first round, I do not want to deal with an LSU fan base that heavily overlaps with the Saints and the Saints passing up on Will Campbell. I'm not, dude. It would be a freaking meltdown of epic proportions if that were to happen.
I don't think he falls that far.
I don't think so either. But it is something that the guys that are actually plugged in have kind of have done this. Like
if we're being fair, they're more wrong than anybody on where people are drafted. Outside of if you historically look at Kuiper, outside of the top 5, from that point on, like he'll hit about 85 to 90%. After that, he hits like 15%.
So you think Will Campbell's for sure top 8?
I here's what I tell you. John Hendricks will back me up on this.
Okay. Yeah.
Our Twitter machine was the first one to say in Carolina, I think that Carolina, I just randomly tweeted this one day. I think Carolina's moving up to take Bryce Young. They did. I don't think he gets past Carolina.
Okay.
I really don't. I think that they're going to try to protect him. That Bryce going off last year. If Will fell there, bro, their whole thing is getting Kelvin Banks because they don't think Will's going to be there. So I don't know if they don't. I don't know if they don't want to go tackle. I don't know. I just don't feel like he gets there to you. But number one, I'm with you on if Will Campbell is there and they don't take him, that would suck. And because everybody would do what you would say that. I hate the Shedeur Sanders thing. I don't think I don't listen. I cover the sport from a national perspective. Colorado, it's a big talking point on that show. He's gone out and called offensive linemen in press conferences. He gives me Caleb Williams type vibes, bro. Highly talented kid, not a leader. That's what I feel like I get from him. Like if this were I feel like there's times where I'm having a conversation between Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, but they're just about different players. One in Cam Ward has battled his way from the FCS and made something of himself. Shedeur, for what it's worth, I don't think has been overall great. He checks way too much of the line. He's never been without his dad at college or in high school, okay? How does he do in a system where they're not involved? Like, that's a big question mark. It's a massive question mark.
Now, to completely switch gears, have you seen this? I know you're not as big of like a draft guys, Joe, and obviously I'm in the weeds of the draft.
I love sports. I'm a big part of the draft. I just don't talk about it.
Right. So let me get your reaction to this. Loveland has now moved ahead of Tyler Warren, your guy.
Idiotic.
So you're
if I could say a word on here, I would say it, and it starts with an R. Okay, that's how dumb this is. Y'all, hold on. This is when people. All right, I'm being dead ass. this is when people start making themselves look like dumbasses.
Dang, dude. Is it because you're so high on Tyler Warren, or is it because you don't
hold on. He led their team in rushing and literally had a longer run than anybody on the field with any running back like Quinshon Judkins, Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, Travion Henderson. He was the one that had the longest run out of the pistol. He was trucking dudes like it was early 2000s Mike Allstott. Y'all, bro, this Tyler Warren hate, I will uppercut somebody like it's Mike Tyson in 1987.
Dude, there's no bigger Tyler Warren fan than you, dude. You freaking
hell no. He's the best tight end on the board. I don't give a shit what any of y'all tell me. I know. Thank you for confirming to me that you don't watch the sport like that. You know what they do with Case and Loveland? They look at measurables and stats, and they never turn on the film.
Interesting.
You're not watching the same game that I'm watching then. I saw Tyler Warren take his team to a Final Four. I saw Loveland be an outright afterthought at Michigan, and they won.
Right.
They don't get to a Final Four without him, and quite frankly, their idiotic nature at Penn State, they didn't give him the ball when they were at the 1 yard line. Not once. Y'all go ahead and play with Tyler Warren. He's going to beat your ass. Listen, hot take, if he's around 22, 23, 24, I'm coming back up to get him.
Well, that's what's interesting, Blake, is like he's starting to slide a little bit. Like I feel Loveland has kind of moved ahead of Warren. It's something else that's interesting, and I bring them up because, man, Mason Taylor is going to be a second-round pick, which is not a surprise to LSU fans, but he's like locked in. He's like locked in to the second round, which is really good for the narrative of Brian Kelly with offensive linemen in the first and early tight ends. But I didn't mean to hijack your show with draft talk, but I have to talk about my one of my favorite LSU players of all time, Will Campbell. Pumped up.
Yeah, absolutely. His arm length is subpar. All right. So Carter, look, we're approaching a spring game on Saturday, and some people have. I'm not even going to go there. What is your biggest takeaway from spring so far?
Honestly, it's DJ Chester. I really do think that's a big thing that.
Okay, expound on that. Is it because Braylon Moore's not been moved him out?
Yeah, and the fact that the LSU staff is very confident in him. Now, let me ask you this: Game 1 versus Clemson, who is LSU starting center?
Braylon Moore.
I think so too. I do. There's this idea that he's got to earn it or whatever.
DJ ain't giving it to him though.
Yeah. So my understanding is it's not that. It's the staff really likes DJ Chester. There's a lot of people that really like this guy. And I know I was his most vocal critic, not from, a personal standpoint, but he really struggled last year. And you and I have had our back and forth on how much of it was him, how much of it was this or that or the third or whatever. But I do find it interesting because my understanding is like they really do believe he's going to take another leap. And like he's only going to be a year 3 guy and he has a full year of reps. I hope so. I really, really hope so. But man, I really want Braylon Moore to be the starting center, and I think he will be. But the fact that 80 to 90% of the first team reps this spring has been DJ
I would
Chester.
say the only thing that I would say there has been when they went in serious scrimmage mode, the third full practice we got there, Braylon Moore was at center and DJ Chester was at right guard. But DJ Chester did start off the red zone at center. Right. I think that I really feel like that they're doing some things to appease some people. Okay, I'm not looking at the depth chart right now. I think a lot of people are just being appeased at the current moment so that they won't hit the portal. With that being said, I do think their best unit could be with Chester or Thompson at right guard. I do think that Paul Mabenga it could be the odd man out here. But Brian Kelly like legitimately told Wilson Alexander that they're moving him to guard. Now that he can renege on that and say that well I thought that going into spring, and look, he showed me that he didn't want to do that. I think that he's been your best center right now in camp, if I'm being honest. I think Braylon Moore has, if you're talking about a position battle, Braylon Moore and Shedeur Mitchell has welcomed him to the SEC. So all these Shedeur Mitchell reps, like the one before, if you saw Scarborough's tape, because I mentioned it last night because he told me that he got his injury on there, which he's fine, by the way. I got that one confirmed. The one before that, it wasn't pretty. I mean, you got two dudes on a pause, but you have two dudes on a double team on all right, let's get past that. Two offensive linemen on a double team on a nose tackle. Okay. In that he didn't get moved and he won the rep. It's not easy. It's predicated for the offensive line to win that rep, and they're not winning it. DJ did go up against him, and it was the one time he got moved. So, like, you're splitting hairs here. So, what like that would be the thing. Now, the one time that they moved the ball, Braylon Moore was at center, but I mean, Carter, I don't know there. I for offensive line for me, I don't think they're anywhere remotely close to being settled at any position.
I agree. Well, I agree, especially with some of the people that's gotten first team reps. There's no way. And I also think Thompson joining.
You've had 10 dudes get first team reps.
Right. And Thompson joining mid-spring, obviously, through a
and he's not one of them. How about this? He's not one of them yet. Think about that. Think about that for just a minute.
That's why I just said that one specifically. Because look, some of it is Moore is just not a big guy, and Chester is. I mean, a lot of this stuff comes down to force equals mass times acceleration. Like guys
motion and speed.
Right. And like guys like Jason Kelsey are freaks, right? Like guys that are like true 290, 300 pounders.
But Jason Kelsey was still one of the strongest offensive linemen in the league, though. That's the part of it. His size was not underutilized because he was so goddamn strong.
Yeah. So, like, Moore is just not that huge.
Not right now.
He's huge compared to us. But, like, I mean, he's just not huge compared.
We're the same height. I mean, we're standing right there by him. I mean, we are the exact same height.
Yeah. And like that's obviously one thing, and then obviously on the other side of the football, to me the story has been DJ Pickett. I mean, the reason. Oh, you have a little sigh. I thought that was a negative reaction.
Oh,
Oh, okay. It was a miss.
I was doing that in agreement. The only thing that I was thinking is that. I wish we had other storylines. Is where my mind went.
Oh, there's plenty, obviously.
But anyway, continue. I didn't mean that in any way
because it's overwhelming. The responses I've gotten with how people have been impressed, and that is a welcome sight.
Yeah,
normally, Blake. Corners, you have a good idea right away if a guy is SEC material at corner. A lot of the great corners at LSU were mostly good right away as true freshmen or redshirt freshmen. A lot of the best DBs were like that, and if they weren't great as first year players, they were sitting behind other great guys. And then when they got that opportunity, like Greedy Williams, they were great. So the fact that is there is just so big. I mean, it really, really, really is, because let's just say he is not quite as good, but somewhere in the realm of a true freshman like a Patrick Peterson. Now, he's not going to be that good. It's nearly impossible to be that good, but in the realm of possibility, it is. It just helps out everything. especially if you want to be aggressive on defense, which Blake Baker, you won't ever hear him talk without mentioning the words havoc. He wants to be aggressive on defense. Well, for you to be aggressive on defense, you got to have guys that can lock guys down on the outside. So that I think is massive, because I don't think they want what they had at corner last year to take up most of the reps.
Yeah. On that, one thing I did think about was, I don't know if he starts against Clemson. I think he'll play against Clemson. I don't know if he's the first guy that they want out there. Based on because this is, I mean, let's call it what it is. He's at his floor right now. If what we're seeing right now is his floor in coverage, then God bless America. Like, God bless Bayou Jesus, because he's only going to be better. At least you hope, because he's made some spectacular plays. I don't know if he starts week 1. And when you talk about that, when we preview a season, we're talking about the season. People look at this as what's going on right now, right? Like, Blake, is he starting against Clemson? I have no clue. No, I don't have a depth chart or starting lineup that I think is going to roll out there. I don't think anybody should. I just think that he's going to play a lot, and he's going to get the reps to prove it, and he's going to get it as early as Clemson. So if he starts, he doesn't start, it doesn't really matter to me, but he's definitely going to play. As far as impact for me, I mean, I can make the argument that he's been your best corner. Now, there is one thing for every single freshman across America that I worry about: maturity level, mentality. I mean, Derek Stingley might have been one of the best corners as a freshman, but, man, he had some mental mistakes as a freshman, which everybody does. I mean, the Devonta Smith thing, I mean, like, let's just – whatever, the punt situation against Auburn, name one. It doesn't matter. But he was electric, and if that's what you're getting as a freshman, and I don't even know if you could do that, because everybody didn't want to throw to Christian Fulton. It presents a very interesting thing for you. Here's the problem that I have with that. The problem I have with that is that I don't boy, here we go again, Blake being negative. Carter, if you're talking about a young freshman corner, he needs to have an experienced safety along with him to help him out. And that is a fact. We do not talk about Kerry Vincent enough for what it's worth in that 19 team. You can go to any film where Kerry was pointing shit out, getting guys lined up. So was Grant Delpit. LSU defensively, if you remember that year when Grant got hurt, boy, things kind of didn't look as great at the end. And then when Grant got healthy, it was fine again. Yeah. Those are things, Carter, that I point out. Like, I want to, as an individual player, I am very high on him. I don't know if the whole situation right now will predicate to play to his strengths, and I hope drastically that it does.
And one more thing. No, okay. You go on.
No, I was moving on there. I was going to ask you another one. Continue.
Yeah. Well, one more thing I do want to bring up is because you did bring up the safety. Since we are going to a new topic, you can listen to my live stream where I dove deep on this. So the thing about 2019 LSU is, like, let's just say the Texas they played had Vince Young, or the Florida they played had Tim Tebow. They're still beating those teams because they're the best team of all time. But a lot of those teams on the schedule, Blake, that was the last year that the SEC had bad teams. The SEC, I think, Blake, will never just have awful teams, because you're always going to get quarterbacks out of the portal who want to step up. Traditionally,
Mississippi State was god awful.
Yeah, but that was after Shapen got hurt.
Shapen played and they lost to Arizona, excuse me.
Right. So out of 16 teams in the SEC,
you got one.
They were the only bad one,
mm-hmm.
Right? So 2019 LSU, 2019 in the SEC as a whole, there were just so many bad teams. So I bring that up because I think safety is even more important in the modern SEC, because there's so many damn good quarterbacks. So two national analysts, Bud Elliott and Andy Staples.
Yeah, did you see that today about look at the, and Wilson pointed that out. You're going to talk about this. That was literally my next question, and you're bringing it up.
Yeah, go on.
Well, hold on. Carter, they faced 4 of the top 9, and Garrett's one of those top quarterbacks in the country. But again, see, here's what people don't do. So here's a negative. Well, Blake's too negative. Brother, you're playing 4 of the top quarterbacks in the country next year. And you're wondering why you wonder why I act the way that I act. Brother, your schedule is tough. But continue. I mean, like, you play a lot of really good quarterbacks.
Right. So I didn't it's funny. I didn't see Wilson's tweet, and I check his Twitter every day.
Well, he was the one that pointed out too. It's like, hey, you're facing 4 of these 9, and the only reason it's not 10 is because Garrett's one of them.
Yeah, I was busy doing like an NBA project I'm working on, but I check Wilson's Twitter every day, and then I was like, okay, time to do a live show. But
on that point, let's talk about that. I want to talk about it.
So the thing isn't that you play for the top 9 quarterbacks. So Bud Elliott had Cade Klubnik, DJ Lagway, John Mateer, and Lenore Sellers, and Andy Staples did, and basically a lot of people have all 4 of those guys in their top 10. That, to me, isn't as big of an issue as the other teams having good quarterbacks, right? Like Arkansas's Taylor Green. Like, he's not terrible. Taylor Green's good. He's a baseline good quarterback. And then the guy that tore you up more than anybody last year outside of Milroe, of course, Marcel Reed's back. Diego Pavia's back. There's not a bad.
And you don't know what's going on at Bama.
You don't. That's what's interesting to me. That Bama is the only like Ole Miss has Austin. What's your thoughts on Austin Simmons?
I think he showed a high level in one drive, and that's all we got to see. But if that's what we're going to get from, and does Lane miss on quarterbacks? I don't know if Lane misses on quarterbacks. So, I mean, I think I said this on our national show. I'll say it here. Again, there's a part of being negative and a part of like looking ahead and saying like, bro, I literally talked about I did a whole segment on this last year. It's not always about in our seat, in our position that you got to look at. You got to look at what you're seeing at practice. Then you got to divulge that from what you're seeing there. Look at the scheduling. When you do a deep dive on a team and you talk about teams like, hey, are you good enough there? Brother, Cade Klubnik tore up the number 1 defense in the country last year in the secondary, that being Texas. Tore them a fucking new one. Go back and watch that game if you don't remember. The dude had 40-plus touchdowns. Now, Georgia, they got their asses whooped, but they could not run the ball. They had 2 freshman wide receivers that were playing that had 4 drops. Disaster. They might have one of the best wide receivers in the country in Antonio Williams. I have not left week 1 yet. Week 3, you're playing DJ Lagway. Week 4, you're playing Lenore Sellers. The good thing is both of those guys are at your place. So 2 of the 3 you got in Death Valley, right? That's the good thing that you feel about that. At least Lagway's got to come to Baton Rouge. Sellers has got to come to Baton Rouge. And, yeah, you do got to go on the road at week 1. Austin Simmons might be a dude, Carter. He might be a dude. And listen, we just pumped up corner, right? We just pumped up corner massively. We've pumped up other positions like edge. This is a very difficult slate for LSU now. It's a tough run now.
Yeah, and
the thing I would say about South Carolina, though, we look at Sellers and then don't look at the context of it. I don't know. I don't know about South Carolina. That secondary might be shaky. Garrett might go off. If there's a game there, I'm picking South Carolina for him to go off in.
New OC, and then
right.
No Rocket Sanders anymore. Now they still should be fine, but Rocket Sanders tore us up too. But Blake, like, that's what concerns me. That's what's really bothered me is like if you don't have safety figured out, like the first thing a quarterback does on a lot of reps
where are they?
Pre-snap, they're looking at the safeties. Where are yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying like this is the best group of quarterbacks LSU has faced, What concerns me is that there's not a just downright awful one on the schedule.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're not going up against Zach Calzada at Kentucky, who could be good. You're not going up against Jackson Arnold at Auburn, who could be good. I mean, I don't know, but you're missing out on those guys. And the second thing is a lot of those quarterbacks Blake can run, and
that's where I have confidence. If there's somewhere that I have a lot of confidence, I've said this ad nauseum. I have a lot of confidence at edge. I have a lot of confidence in what they can do there. I have a lot of confidence in at corner at the current moment. Hopefully that position gets better. But at edge, I mean, like I expect the running game to get better. Now I will say a defensive run game because of Patrick Payton, who has really shown that he can. I mean, even at Florida State about running quarterbacks down. Ask Jaden, and then Pyburn. We've seen with his physicality. Where I do wonder, and there's a couple of things here. Number one, LSU's not done in the portal. When the spring portal window opens, I'm going to be interested to see where they go. Do they go after safety? Do they go after DT? Hey, Carter, do they go after anybody? You know, like do they go after anybody? I do not know. It is, in my opinion, that you got to go get a safety. You must. You must. Brother, like are y'all going to leave up to chance to say that you're fine at DT, that you're fine at safety? I think you're fine at receiver. By the way, are you going to do that in the offensive line? Are you going to do that at running back? I mean, you have two guards and on the second team, and Carius Kern and Josh Thompson playing left and right tackle. And you're telling me that you have tackle depth? Two guards. They're guards. What did Josh Thompson play at Northwestern at last year?
OG.
So that's my point. I don't even think that this team is fully constructed completely yet. So then there's a lot of just questions. It's labeled as negative. It's not a negative. It's a question. A question. How's a question negative?
Well, people don't like questions. They like certainty.
Well, there is no certainty. Brother, you ain't got 16 players from the portal. If you thought that you had guys that could play, you don't go in the portal like that.
Yeah, and to go back to like the Austin Simmons thing, it is strange that Lane said, I'm not really going all out for a QB in the portal. I believe in this guy. So that kind of concerns me as well. Because I was like, this is the same Lane Kiffin who convinced Spencer damn Sanders and Walker Howard to sit the damn pine.
Walker Howard got a new girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, there's that too. But
no, really. He literally has a new girlfriend. I mean, why is Miss Mississippi and Walker Howard hanging out? I don't know. I mean, my boy's a dog. My boy's a dog, man.
I will not.
Boy got swag now. Boy got some swag on him now.
I have no idea, but it is something I am interested to see Austin Simmons because that one Georgia drive was just so sharp. Yeah, it was so. I was like, damn, versus Georgia, down 7-0, wet ball, and you're out there
and
throwing,
rip them apart.
I was like, damn, dude. And
it's only a drive, so you can't overreact. But you're like, damn, I want to see more of it.
I was like, damn, dude, what? This is like the biggest like tease, if you will. But I mean, they had Jackson Dart, so I get it. But
I felt like there was kind of coming back to the first part. I thought there was a lot of talk about Jackson Dart in New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and the weird thing about it was I remember going to Ole Miss as a student. It was a Houston blowout 2011 Ron Brooks pick six game, right? Zach Mettenberger kneeled down. So, Blake, I wore a Saints jacket the night before, and there were so many Ole Miss fans that stopped me complimenting the Saints jacket because, you had Deuce McAllister. Right. They have no big NFL team. There's so many Ole Miss fans that are Saints fans, like diehard Saints fans. So, I mean, There might be something there, Mr. Dart, going to New Orleans. But
Might be.
yeah, man. I appreciate you big time, big dog.
Last thing. Last question. Anything that you're looking forward to on Saturday?
Honestly, Blake, no. I'm not. Like here, you want to know what I'm looking forward to?
What?
I'm looking forward to fans enjoying the hell out of their experience. I really do think people should go. I even though I'm downplaying, what I'm looking for or whatever. I can't go to the spring game. I like going to the spring game. I have an obligation I have to do that morning, but they really are fun. Like it's a really stripped down version. I mean, it's not Saturday night in Death Valley, but you're gonna have some ridiculous access to these players and coaches.
I thought you would love to be there because of the autograph sesh.
Yeah,
get some cards signed.
I would have freaking adored that access. I'm a fan at heart, and I was a gazillion % going, but somebody needed some music played, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. But
do what you got to do, baby.
I do think people should go. I really do think it's worth the trip. Now, if you're a diehard football head and you want to see us perfect Hoss Y juke, well, you're not going to see that. But take the kids, take the family, all that stuff. Hell yeah, you should go. Free? Are you kidding me? The LSU football, they still put the decals on the helmets, and it's worth it.
Well, you hope they do it this year. I mean, no one really gives a shit. Look, here's what I'd say. When you have this many new players, and listen, I know Shane Beamer talked about this today. Every rep fucking matters. Offensive line development in college is drastically down. Drastically. All right. We gonna see. You gonna see. You'll see.
No.
I'm pissed off, by the way, that Fran Brown and Prime and them can't play. That's some bullshit.
Like Coach Gundy said, just do it.
There's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, like
until this house settlement case is through, there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, I would have just said, here. We talked so much about Shedeur early on. It's so important to keep in mind, because you would agree with me on this, that fans' reactions to Colarodo and Shedeur content is different than every other reaction. It's different. Like,
if you're not glazing them, then you're an ass. Then they call you some serious hate. Yeah,
and there's a lot of bad faith arguments from their fans. Like, the most popular thing is, well, you didn't play at a Hall of Fame level. You don't have a gold jacket. You're not a. I'm like, no shit.
Dude, me and Joe got flat out called racist when he had the pick against Nebraska and said it was the game sealing reason that they lost.
Dude, you
think about that, because I said he threw an interception, which he actually threw.
Right, and I say that because Deion and this is going to drive some people crazy, but it's just true. Deion's is so massive. Like, he's just, outside of Nick, who's retired, there's no bigger name in the sport. Nobody moves the needle like Deion Sanders. So that's why I was hoping that they would just go ahead and do the game, because he's that big of a star. He can get away with it.
And you know what? You could have seen Ricky Collins, who just got announced as starting quarterback. You would have seen Ricky go up against and get some reps. Could you imagine one of these quarterback position battles? Like, let's just say that if Alabama had one, or because you don't have a quarterback position situation, could you imagine if Ohio State had one? Like, I mean, could you imagine what if Garrett Nussmeier would have left this year? A lot of you would want to see Michael Van Buren.
And I'm so interested to see Ricky next year. I really am.
Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting case,
dude. I was shocked that Syracuse thought as highly of him, because I liked him. I have some of Ricky's autographs over here, and if he would have balled out in the spring game, those card values would have gone up quite a bit. And it is interesting. Universally, one of the more controversial transfer portal, transitions was Kyle McCord going to Syracuse. Kyle McCord was good last year. So
he had one devastating game. He threw 4 picks versus Eli Holstein's Pitt Panthers.
Yeah, I remember that game. But man, how do you think Ricky's going to do at Syracuse?
I do not think he will do well early, because unless they change up offensively of what they're doing, I think he's got a long delivery. I think he'll be very. I don't think he'll do well early. I think there'll be some hiccups. I do think as the season goes on, though, that he can. Because I think the ACC is so light defensively that he could be fine. He could be fine.
Yeah, Carvis in the chat. He's a big Ricky. I remember he's a big Ricky believer. So
Ricky's got a very, very, very long delivery. Last thing, I'm getting you out of here, I swear.
That's fine.
When quarterbacks go, they're here, right? Like they're here. They're not wasting motion. When you see Drew, go watch any Drew pass. Drew patted, went. It was his biggest hiccup. Pat, go. Pat, go. Ricky goes down, around, and then goes. I'm telling you, it's a massive problem. It's like Haynes King. Okay, now if you remember Haynes King when he was at A&M, how he got the ball all the way back here?
Yeah.
What happened? Haynes King, for what it's worth, scored 40 touchdowns a year ago, and then when he was hurt, he dropped his interception record by 14. He used to turn the ball over, but now he's here. If Ricky can get there and then deliver, he'll be fine. If he's got the long motion, I worry for him. Well, let me ask you this: how's LSU fans going to do if he goes off? They're going to freak out.
Yeah, because he's Woodlawn.
They're going to freak out, right?
Coached by a former LSU quarter. I mean, all of it. Yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated, but
Todd said that Tebow had a delivery problem. He also could run everybody over.
Yeah, Tebow, he's one of the best.
What are you doing here? Come on, Todd.
He's one of the best college football players of all time.
Absolutely.
But I will say, as far as Ricky is concerned, I'm cheering for him. Me too. He didn't go to an SEC school, so the likelihood we play Syracuse is low. But I am pulling for him. What'd you say?
Leonard Fournette game. You remember the Leonard Fournette Syracuse game?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and
70-something yard toss dive got called back.
And then Greedy Williams, when we played in Tiger Stadium, had the near pick 6. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that's going to be interesting, we'll talk about this next week, is there are so many ACC guys that have like high NFL draft ratings on the offensive side of the football. And the Pena kid, brother. Yeah, so we touched on it last week. I'm starting to think maybe it could just be that they had so much good film because the defenses are so bad in the ACC.
Yeah, the defenses are horrible.
What, like bad?
They're god awful. That's why I have some faith. Carter, think about this. Texas lost 3 offensive linemen when they played Clemson in that first round. They lost 2 during the game, and 1 kid didn't play. Texas could not run the football last year. It was across the SEC besides South Carolina. I think it's why South Carolina had success. Teams could not run the ball. Brother, Texas went off all up in Clemson's ass. Before the kneel downs, they had 300 yards rushing. 300. A team that could barely run the ball against Ohio State. That same team ran for 300 yards on Clemson. Don't run the ball if you're LSU week 1. I'm going to go bananas. No, I will go bananas. Bananas.
I knew you were going to Stefani it. I knew. All right, buddy.
All right. Peace.